All right, Nolan, thank you. Well, for the first time tonight, a Grand Chute mother is sharing her push for what she hopes could one day help protect drivers on the road, proposing a hands-free warning system designed to alert nearby drivers and emergency responders to imminent danger.
This effort comes after her son was killed in this wrong-way crash in Grand Chute in November of 2024. And that person responsible for the fatal crash now scheduled to be sentenced in Outagamie County Court tomorrow afternoon. In a First Alert update, Samantha Cavalli shares a mother's mission to protect all drivers on the road.
It was October 6, 2024. Austin LaVicka Leering was performing one of his original songs while his mom, Christina, watched and recorded. She didn't know it then, but it would be the last time she would ever capture his voice.
When I think of my son, I think of joy and teamwork. He was my partner, and he was light.
Just 4 weeks later, Austin was killed in a wrong-way crash near Interstate 41 and Lindale Drive in Grand Chute. Court documents say Rosalie Polson of Waiawega drove about 2 miles the wrong way before the crash and is charged with homicide by negligent operation of a vehicle. For Christina, the hardest part is knowing her son never got a warning.
And as a teacher, I'm always in the mode of protection. And with my son, I was always in mama bear protection mode. So when I found out what happened to my son, I thought there's got to be a way to protect innocent drivers.
That idea became the 497 Austin Alert, named for Austin's birth month and year, April 1997. The concept is a hands-free voice warning system drivers could activate if they spot imminent danger, like a wrong-way driver, road debris, or sudden low visibility. It would quickly go out not only to nearby drivers, but also to police, fire, and EMS agencies within a 2-mile radius, saving valuable seconds.
You could be on a motorcycle driving down the road and just say to your phone, you know, Austin Alert, and they come back and say, confirm, yes. And then everybody's notified.
Austin's friend, Marty Sudinger, helped launch 497austinalert.com, saying this concept would connect tools many drivers already use every day.
I'm envisioning it's going to have to be like Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze. They all have the reporting feature built in, but I think there needs to be like a link bringing all of them together where somebody hits the report or the verbal. They all have objects from the road, it reports it onto the map.
I want this to be something where you don't even think. Your hands are on the wheel, you see danger, and it's just knee-jerk reaction. Austin Alert. And everyone knows that. Every driver knows that. Kids grow up learning that.
For Christina, it's about turning loss into action and giving the next driver the warning Austin never got.
Everyone deserves a chance to drive home safely. Everyone deserves a chance to have a warning of danger ahead.
She hopes one day Austin's name will be tied not only to tragedy, but to a warning system that could save lives. In Grand Chute, Samantha Cavalli, Action 2 News.